the nursery over there, the bowling green and everything else. And on the demise of the GLC, it was handed to Haringey, who didn't really at that time have the resources to maintain it in the manner which the GLC had. And so it did start to decline. Bruce helped to found the Friends of Finsbury Park, helped to get the money in for it, helped with that crucial court case, which meant that the money from the festivals goes back into the park. And the Friends of Finsbury Park, which I'm proud to be part of, has done a great deal to improve the park. Because Bruce absolutely believed parks are for people, they are for everybody to use, they are our front garden, our back garden, our place of retreat and escape. And this park is absolutely part of that. Of course, it should have been much better and much bigger, and had Bruce been around in the 19th century, I don't know why he wasn't. He should have been. Some people, as Valerie rather ungallantly says, some people thought he was. Had he been around in the 19th century, he would have defeated those defeatist miseries on the London Board of Works, who didn't make the park the size it should have been. It should have been at least twice as big as it is at the present time. I think the chances of expanding it are now probably quite limited. But we have got what we've got, and this tree in memory of Bruce is absolutely wonderful and beautiful. This, by the way, isn't the tree that was supposed to be planted. There's a sad story about a tree. I was given a tree by Extinction Rebellion when they were having a demonstration outside Parliament, and they offered every MP who came to it a tree. So I was very happy to get a hornbeam tree, and it was a beautiful tree it was too. And so this tree then sat for a while on the balcony of my office in the sunshine overlooking the Thames, and then I brought it home into my back garden, transplanted it into a bigger pot, and it grew on quite nicely, and I put my own compost on it. I was very pleased and very proud of this tree, and then I said to Kate, this would be a lovely tree to plant in memory of Bruce. It was going to go here. Then the sadness comes in. This tree was resting in my back garden ready for Bruce, and then we were pruning a overgrown olive tree next to it in my very small back garden, and one of the branches we pruned from the olive tree landed. I'm sorry to tell you this, it's a sad story. Landed on the hornbeam and broke the hornbeam. So the idea of planting a broken tree in memory of Bruce, I think Bruce would have found it very funny actually, and I think he would have made a whole long speech about it. But however, that tree is going to go somewhere else in the park. The broken tree will rejuvenate, they always do, and so we have this in memory of Bruce, and I think it's so wonderful and so fitting. He was an inspiration, a leader, a thinker, and somebody with the most incredibly broad-minded approach. When you think he'd been a very senior figure in the Catholic Church, had the most open approach to faith, religion, to humanism, to atheism, to anything else. He was quintessentially somebody who believed in human love and human good, and did so much to expand that. And his message all around the world to people who were victims of nuclear testing, be they the Western Shoshone people or people in Russia or people on Pacific Islands, the Marshall Islands and other places, and to be at any international event with Bruce. And I remember going to The Hague at a peace conference, I think it was 1999, we were there, the Hague Peace Conference, and Bruce was obviously very much in his element and very popular there. And then I got into an argument with a reporter from the Daily Mail. I was quite surprised to see the Daily Mail were covering a peace conference in The Hague. And it was absolutely nothing to do with the peace conference in The Hague. They were wanting to try and destroy my character. It's never happened since or by the Daily Mail. And so unusually for me, I told the guy concerned to clear off and get out of my sight. So I saw Bruce a few minutes later. He said, "Bruce, I was just very rude to a guy from the Daily Mail." He goes, My son, you have total absolution. for as he described it, a very necessary sin that you've committed today. And so, let's just think of Bruce as that cheerful, wonderful, witty, so knowledgeable, so open-minded person that could convert the most stony, militaristic, warlike minds into thinking that this beautiful planet has to be preserved by our actions, and we have to use our brilliance, our science, our knowledge and our technology to further environmental sustainability and further peace, not go to war. I know that he was around now to say, well, for all the horrors of the Ukraine, and they are horrors, for all the wrongness of the invasion, and it is wrong, for all the abuses of human rights, and they are real, there has to be a voice for peace, to save lives in the Ukraine, to save the lives of Russian soldiers, and to save the rest of the world from the danger of descending into something much worse, such as a nuclear war. So in Bruce's memory, let's all strive to sustain this planet. Let's all strive to build that world of peace. So this tree will remind us, and every time we run past it, I'll think of Bruce, and I'll think of his postcards, and I'll say, thank you, Bruce, for everything you did for all of us and improving our human spirit in your lives. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much indeed, Jeremy. To the characters they put on plinths. And I may say that in Wales we have some unfortunate statues, but we do have the Friend of Freedom in the Hays. We do have Caradog, who conducted a male voice choir in Aberdare. We have Hayes Wynn, not as a soldier but as a shepherd in Trawsfynydd. And in Tregaron, a small town of 1,000 inhabitants, we have an enormous statue to Henry Richard, and on it are the two words, the Apostle of Peace. Well, those are 3 words. And I should be forever grateful to Henry Richard, because he was one of Bruce Kent's heroes. And it is through Henry Richard that I came to know Bruce and Valerie, and feel honoured that I can, I hope, call them friends. And it is a great pleasure. I don't normally write anything much in English, certainly not a poem, but I have tried, and I hope that this makes some sense to you. And it had to be called, of course, the Apostle of Peace. We watched the mind behind the bright brow think now is the time to chime the bell of peace. We witnessed how the prophet of the periphery strode out, carrying the blue of the sky in his eyes, beating the path of peace with tall conviction, a height that hid the bracken, bramble, barbed bite that burnt the skin of meat. We borrowed Bruce and learnt how hope is not a crossing of fingers, not a wish, but a will that lingers past the longest night until it blasts a beam through the seam of darkness, lifting the heaviest fright, now made light by love. So today, what you say? Shall we unsigh our souls, throw away the chains, and follow the path he lent us until peace reigns? For the mind behind the bright brow knew that the time is now, and that we bloody well ought to get on with it.
That was truly amazing. Thank you so much, Sarah. That's absolutely marvellous. And now the final word to Valerie.
It'll be brief because it is very cold. So I hope this tree, as I'm sure you do, will really flourish now and symbolise in its growth the growth and success of our continuing efforts to bring peace and justice to our human community. I want to thank everyone who's brought this project to fruition, starting with Jeremy and Kate, whose idea it was in the first place, and then the team behind Jeremy who negotiated, and especially Alex and the Haringey Tree and Nature Conservation team. To thank our speakers, Kevin from the Friends of Finsbury Park and from the message from the mosque, and especially Mererid, who, as you heard, travelled all the way from Wales to present her beautiful poetic tribute to Bruce. And especially all of you for coming. It's such a lovely thing that you've all come. It's so cheering and so warming and so encouraging. A big thank you. And I know some of you have come from not just Wales, 2 other lots have come from Wales and Salisbury and Worthing and all over. And you represent a lot of different circles of Bruce's life, his family, his great niece from Cardiff with her family, friends, neighbours, people from church, local interests and national campaigns. You may like to know that there are going to be 2 summer concerts in memory and honour of Bruce. The first is being put on by Musicians for Peace and Disarmament, and that is on Thursday the 25th of May in St James's Church, Piccadilly. And the second one will be on Sunday the 11th of June in our Church of St Mellitus, and I hope that many of you will be able to come to one or other of those. Before we go, young relatives are handing around some cards with a photo of Bruce. Some of you will have already had that, but please feel free to take them if you haven't. There they are, the green postcards up there. So big thank you all for coming. What a lovely event, such an appropriate symbol, because more than one person said to me after Bruce died, it felt like a mighty tree had fallen. So it couldn't be a more appropriate symbol. Thank you so much, everybody. So that's it. Before we all freeze, let's go to the cafe. And if you are not native,
Thanks very much, Valerie, and thanks everyone for coming. Join us in the cafe. Thank you.